glorify you, Jesus. Magnify you, Lord. You're worthy of the glory, Lord.
The kingdom of heaven is at hand. Last week we concluded with the fact that the initial favor in any earthly relationship is the result of the status of your heavenly favor that has been built between you and God before that earthly relationship ever gets started. And today we're going to look at some more fundamentals of relationships, and again, these things that we've been covering last week and we'll be covering this week, these are just fundamentals of every type of relationship. I still have not yet got into specific relationships yet. And once we get into specific relationships, it's going to be a lot more brutal, because what we'll be encountering is you're going to start seeing your part that you've played in all of the relationships that you've been in. You're going to be able to see your parts more clearly when we start defining the different relationships. Because again, I've told you all before of how I used to be in the employment world, and how I was in marriage relationships and all those things. And if I had been in either of those places when I began pastoring, it would have been ugly. Like UGLY, bad ugly. And I want you to understand that, because that's where I learned a lot of these fundamentals. That's where I've been able to see a lot of the different pieces of the puzzle of relationships that have come up, and these things are, just as I've been looking at this section and looking at relationships in the Word and understanding exactly how God's designed all of us to function in relationships. It's where I wanted that's why I wanted to find these fundamentals that no matter which one you've got majoring in your life right now, or which one you're wanting to major in soon, you'll be able to look at these fundamentals and know how to put them in any one, whether it be a business, whether it be a parent-child, whether it be a marital, whatever type of relationship. I want you to be able to take off running when we start looking at the specifics. Amen. Because again, when you start to realize how far along you could be, my hope is that you get angry, right, and then get motivated, right, on getting it right as fast as you can, as right as you can. Right. And I want you to have it right, even if you have to do it at a fast pace, because you understand how long you've been in the wrong. That's what I'm wanting you to see out of this about relationships, because every relationship requires communication of three main things: intentions, reactions, and solutions. Every relationship requires communication of those three main things: intentions, reactions, and solutions. And in Hebrews 4, what we read in our starting scripture, I want you to see something that's very important. Because in verse 9, it says, "There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of God." So in other words, what that's trying to convey to us is it's saying there is a whole lot better in front of you if you're one of God's children. There's a whole lot better in front of you than what you've had, even if you thought what you had was pretty good. There's still a higher level of rest that he's wanting you to have, even here in the earth, before you even go partake of the third heaven. That's what I'm wanting you to understand, is that he's trying to get, and that's why we do what we do each week when we lift our hands and say, thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. That's why we do that, because what we're desiring and what we're surrendering to by the lifting of our hands is that his will is going to descend upon us while we're still here. while we're still here in the earth, that he will still manifest within us and for us everything that he's already got designed for us to have within his kingdom. That's why we do that. Now understand this next verse. He says, because in verse 10 it says, for he that has entered into his rest, he also hath ceased from his own works as God did from his. See, what he's trying to show you is when you enter into his rest in your places, you've backed off from your way of doing things in those places. And if you haven't got rest in a relationship, that's why you're still doing it your way. If you're still not at peace, whether it be with business relationship, parent-child relationship, marital relationship, church relationship, whatever ship you want to be sailing right now, he's saying, if you'll back off of your ways and do it my way, I'll give you rest. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, learn of me, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light. He said, if you'll do this the way that I've got designed for it to work, it'll be a whole lot easier on you. And that's crucial to understand, because watch verse 11. It says, let us do what? Labor. Now, I want you to understand that rest is not doing anything. There's actual labor, but it's not going to be hard labor. It's actually going to be very simple labor, but you got to do something. That's why it says faith without works is dead. So he's saying there's still something that I want you to do so that you can have this rest. And once you'll actually do it this way, you won't even see it difficult to do it this way. Okay. So that's what we're really after. Because he says, let us labor, therefore, to enter into that rest. Now, like I said, it looks like an oxymoron there, because he's saying labor to rest. That don't match. If you're not thinking of it in the proper terms, it doesn't match. Right. But if you're thinking of it in the proper terms of understanding, okay, there's something that I've got to do God's way in order to get his rest. Now I understand I don't mind doing what I need to do, because I'm going to be doing what he's designed for me to do to get his best. Amen. So that I can rest in what I am doing. Now watch. As he says, let us labor therefore to enter into that rest, lest any man fall after the same example of what? Unbelief. So why even mention unbelief?